Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Arturo Watson, and today I'm so happy to share with you guys episode number 4 of my podcast. On this episode, I had the chance to have a conversation with my friend Jonathan Calderon, aka Chino. I met Chino in 2018 while I was doing some MMA and Muay Thai training in Thailand, in Tiger Muay Thai Phuket. So we're gonna be talking about the experience of training Muay Thai in Thailand and also why he decided to leave everything behind and move to Thailand for 2 years to train every day and live as a fighter and master his craft. And also how was his experience training with the best coaches, top athletes, and some of the UFC world champions. So if you are into Muay Thai, kickboxing, box, MMA, or Jiu-Jitsu, this is for you. So check it out and let me know. First, I want to say thank you, man, and I really appreciate your help with this. And also, I want to let you know that I have one of the biggest respect I can have to another person, man. Like you really inspire me to train. I follow you on Instagram, and it was such a pleasure to meet you on Tiger Muay Thai. And even when we didn't hang out for a long time, I keep following you on Instagram, and you always inspire me to train a little more and don't give up and don't be lazy. That's big, man. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, man. I mean, to me, I think that's the goal at the end of the day. I mean, like I said, I still follow the things that I want to follow, but the whole purpose of it is to obviously be able to encourage other people to just follow whatever they feel like they want to do. Kind of like not be afraid of doing things and just kind of like that's the whole purpose for me at the end of the day is just inspire others. So that's good to hear that. And same thing, I feel like every people you meet um, comes into your life for a reason. So whatever the case that would have been, we met over there in like other side of the world, and look at us now. We here sharing stories and stuff. So that's good.
I know, and like that's kind of like the purpose of this YouTube channel. Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of background. Basically, I started traveling like 5 years ago because I had this immigration process that I was not able to leave the country for a little while. So when I had the chance, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gone." So I started like going all over the place, and what I kind of want to like inspire with this YouTube channel is exactly what you just say, just to show people that if you get out of your comfort zone and you try new things, you're gonna have a blast of new opportunities. You're gonna meet new people. You're gonna have so many like human experience that you will not have if you stay on your house in your couch watching Netflix. You know what I mean? Like
Same
if you
place.
go out and you fucking chase what you love, you're gonna find so much good stuff on the way, really great people, nice experiences, like activities that you normally will not do. You end up loving it. Like Muay Thai, to be honest, I went training Muay Thai because I meet a guy while I was traveling through Southeast Asia, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm training Muay Thai in Phuket." I was like, "What? That sounds fucking awesome!" So next year I went back to train with no previous like experience or
Background.
nothing, and end up being one of the most amazing experience of my life, and it changed so many things because now I'm hooked and I have a better life, more healthy, more active. I feel great, and just because I was able to get out of that comfort zone and just do something with my time, right? So that's what I want to like inspire on people watching this video, to like just go
Yeah, of
and chase
course.
your dreams, wherever that is. If it's uh, punching people on the face or it's like scuba diving or wherever it is, just go and do it
Yeah, of course, man, of
and
course.
making
Like I said,
people like
sometimes people go through they have to go through things they never done before to find what they really want, you know? Because a lot of us, and I count myself as well, like before I started traveling, I was the same thing. I was doing the same things over and over. I feel like I caught myself in a routine, and it was easy to follow through that for years. Jobs, the same thing. Like, oh, I have this job, I want to take care of the job for years because I might not have another one. Things like that. Always kind of like being afraid of, like you said, being out there. So once you let go of that fear, that's when you really start to put things in perspective and finding yourself. I feel like
That's
just more
totally
about that, that experience of finding yourself. So it's good. It's
that's
good to
totally
know
true.
you're.
How did you find this passion for fighting? How everything started?
Um, for me was honestly it was my brother. My brother, he started following the martial arts before I was still a teenager. I was like 16, 17 when I first came to America. By the way, I'm American slash Colombian, but I lived in Colombia for almost 10 years. So when I came back to America again, I was already 16, turning 17. And few months later, like after that, I was already here. I was obviously going through different stuff. My brother was already here for many other years. He had other friends who were involved into watching those sports, and he got hooked into it. And like I said, I was just still a teenager, so I was just still fucking around and meeting girls, stuff like that. Like nothing crazy, just being a teenager, right? And I used to see my brother just coming in, sometimes exhausted and exciting about like doing some moves and stuff on some of his friends. And I remember one day he asked me if I wanted to go watch a UFC fight, and I didn't know what that was. I used to see him watching all the time, but for some reason I thought it was like a movie or something, because I always used to see I used to be involved into like martial arts as a kid, but like watching movies. Like I used to like to watch Jean-Claude Van Damme and like blood sports, Steven Seagal, like all about like doing submissions and stuff like that, like breaking
Yeah,
bones. But I thought it was all like a part of movies. And like I said, when you live in a third world, not third world country, but Colombia was pretty much a third world country before I came here. Um, you don't have the privilege to see this type of stuff. Like my channels were all like all the type of stuff. And like I said, I was a teenager, so I wasn't really involved into it. But yeah, sure. Long story short, my brother was already a little bit ahead of time. Like he was already starting to train. Did some like kickboxing fights. Did some nogi BJJ tournaments. And I don't know. I asked him if I could go and join and see like how was it and stuff like that. So I went to the gym, did like a free trial class like a month, and the first thing I did was BJJ. So it was pretty exciting. I got like a guillotine on my first class. I was like, oh shit, this is awesome.
nice.
This is great. And for some reason, like I feel like we all have that instinct like of fighting, right? So
That's
I remember
true.
like the first time they put me to grapple, I grabbed that guy and I literally kind of like I hugged him and just like lift him off the ground and threw him down. Like it was like a natural wrestling instinct. And I kind of liked it. It was weird, like it
You
was
should
weird because
have
like
put at
I
this.
had yeah, I had fought before as a kid in the streets of Colombia, of course, in the school. Like as a kid, I grew up in a really bad neighborhood. So for me, uh, fights were every day, everywhere. Not with me, but I have to see my friends fighting, like stuff like that. Um, we had like little gang groups and stuff like that as a kid, but nothing crazy. Like I said, everything was just fighting over soccer or something like that. You play soccer and everybody wants to get into a fight, so you start fighting. But as a kid, it's not the same when you have the adrenaline going through your veins, fighting someone in a cage, someone who actually knows how to fight. So
Yeah,
that's
true.
pretty crazy too. So yeah, like I said, for me, like I said, that was 2007, I think, 2007, when I had my first experience as a practitioner of BJJ. But like I said, I did a couple of classes. I couldn't really afford it, so I started cleaning the gym at 9 time, like at midnight. Once the last class was over, I used to go and clean the mats for the gym, and they allow me to train with some of the coaches from there. So that's how I had my first experience. But it
Oh,
wasn't
that's pretty
until
awesome.
2011 when I actually decided to start the journey. Because during that time, I was still a teenager. Like I said, I was on and off. Like used to wanted to go more to party
Yeah, yeah,
and
it
go
was like a
to
hobby.
work. And yeah, it was more like a hobby. Yeah, it was more like a hobby. I went to do 2 3 classes and I thought I was already a black belt.
After you start training and you were like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to take this serious. Like, what was your like short-term goal on that time? Like training-wise, you want to start fighting pro? Like, what was your idea on that time?
So okay, so my first idea when I first started it, I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do. All I know is that I wanted to get into something. I remember I joined into school and I was working full time and I was trying to do paramedics. But like I said, the whole thing with school in the morning and going to work I work at a restaurant business before, so working in restaurants and getting out late and all of this stuff, it was very difficult for me. So I ended up dropping off college, and my second option was going back to training and fighting. So I found my coach. I told my brother to ask him if he could take me again, and and see what I'll go with it. And then the first thing I did was jiu-jitsu. I did jiu-jitsu for almost 2 years, and it wasn't until I got into a fight at a club with Emilio. I don't know if you remember Emilio, one of the
Yeah,
coaches from
Honey Badger.
the Honey Badger. Shout out to the Honey Badger as well. um, Actually, yeah,
Shout
like
out to the bro.
one of our friends were fighting in one of the clubs in Fort Lauderdale, and I remember like he was on for the bell, and I'm on the second floor. He's downstairs in the corner of one of our teammates, and he wins the bell, and I'm just screaming, normal. I'm like, hey, like congratulations. And next to me happened I had one of the guys who was going for the other guy. So he started telling me like, oh, that was just luck, blah blah blah, saying stuff until he was really drunk. So he started talking a lot of shit. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can curse.
No, 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 it's
But
okay. It's
we
totally
good.
fine.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, no, he was talking a lot of shit, and then Emilio noticed it from downstairs, so he came upstairs. His boy took him away, whatever. He asked me, he like, was everything okay? I'm like, yeah, some drunk guy. He was just being upset because his boy lost, whatever. So we were walking down the stairs, and I come in front of Emilio. And then the guys in the stairs, I'm like, oh, he's here. And then he like, all right, just go in front of me. He tells me. I go in front, and the guy told me, oh yeah, that's what I thought. Walk away. And then I looked at him and I smirked at him, and he said, what? And then Emilio goes behind him and touched me on the shoulder and just sniffed him, just boom, just punched him right in the face. And then he told me like, oh, because the guy was pretty big. The guy was like 180 pounds. So he tells the guy, he like, oh, you're gonna mess with my friend because he's little. Like, why don't you get someone your size, type of thing. And then we start the rumble. We get kicked out, and we get kicked out of the club, and then it became a fight of like 6, 7 people against two of us. So it was me
Oh
and
shit.
Emilio, and it was like six other guys. So we got into a rumble, and then yeah, just that, just one of those crazy like 5 minutes. It feels like an hour type of fight, and
Yeah,
that's
so
it. It
intense.
was it was something very like quick. That's when I first had my first experience fighting in a rumble like that, like with a lot of people here in Miami. So it was pretty crazy, especially knowing that I have some abilities to defend myself. And one of the promoters grabbed me when the fight was over. He grabbed me, he pulled me away. A couple of my friends, and then he was telling me, like, all right, put your shirt on, because my shirt came off for some reason, Fights. He tells me, put your shirt on, the cops are coming. And he like, are you a fighter? And I'm like, no, I'm not a fighter, I just practice BJJ. And he like, man, you fight pretty good. And he like, would you like to ever fight? And I said, I don't know, man. I was pissed. So I was like, I don't know, man. Let me get through this stuff. And he like, look, man, if you ever think about fighting, I'm one of the promoters for the show. So he gave me the card. He like, just give me a call, talk to your coach, and let me know. I'm like, all right. So a couple of days later, I talked to my coach, and I'm like, hey, look, like this guy told me, because I couldn't remember. I blacked out, like I saw red, and that was all.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, they were telling me that, like, yeah, that I was throwing flank kicks and freaking everything you can think of, punches everywhere. I was getting punched in the spine. I got kicked, thrown against a car, all of that stuff. I didn't feel none of that. So I told my coach, I'm like, hey, look, do you think, I asked him, of course, 'cause I was doing only BJJ. I used to box as well, but I never put everything to like the mixing of the martial arts
Yeah.
together. So I told him, I'm like, hey, what do you think about me fighting? So he told me, it's up to you if you want. So my whole idea was, I personally felt I had a really good BJJ since I started with my coach Enrico Coco from here in Miami. Shout out to my coach as well. um, I I felt very comfortable and confident with my level of jiu-jitsu. I completed my blue belt in 8 months, which was a very fast pace to get a belt in BJJ. Usually it takes about a year to 2 years for a person to obtain that belt. I got it in 8 months. I was competing
Wow.
a lot. I was competing a lot. I had like about 8 to 10 different tournaments um, 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 before I complete my blue belt. So I was very dedicated in my first years of practice, and I wanted to bring BJJ as the superior martial arts and MMA. So my whole idea was to strike a little, wrestle, put them down, submit them. That was my whole idea of MMA.
I
Um,
like it.
and yeah, so I got to work. I got to work a couple of months. I took like 6 months of just pure training, stand up to feel comfortable standing up with a person. And of course, I had one of the best wrestlers here in Miami, which was one of the coaches who went to the UFC as well. Mike Rio is his name. He was already a veteran UFC fighter. So he taught me how to wrestle, and obviously, like I said, I had my jiu-jitsu coach who had some striking background as well, and taekwondo. So that's kind of like the background that I started receiving from it, and that's how I kind of developed myself.
That's pretty cool, man. So for the people that is listening and watching, uh, I just going to explain how did I meet you. I met Chino on 2018 in a Tiger Muay Thai in
Yes,
Thailand,
sir.
Phuket, Thailand. Uh, I have a question about that. When did you decide, fuck it, I'm leaving, I'm moving to Thailand, and I'm gonna just like focus on training 24/7?
Well, so the funny thing is, Emilio, we come from the same school back home. Uh, he had a different friend of him living in Thailand already. So he already had the idea of moving to Thailand, and he ended up, moving to Thailand and doing the trials for 2014, if I'm not mistaken. 2014, 2000, yeah, for the trials for Tiger Muay Thai.
For those that don't know,
And
those tryouts are fucked up, man. Like it's like brutal.
yes, definitely. And I feel I personally feel, since I watched them all pretty much. I think the 2016 tryouts, the one with Alex Volkanovski and uh, him himself and other fighters who are actually right now in the UFC, have made it to UFC. I think that was the toughest one out of all, especially with the way the facility was, and the treatment, the way things were done. I think it was a lot more brutal, even a lot more brutal than mine. I think mine was pretty intense, but in comparison, now that I'm outside of and I can watch them both next to each other, I think those trials were a lot worse than mine. So
You did
yeah, shout
you
out
did
to those guys.
2018, right?
I did 2018, yes. I did the one like 2 months after I got there. So
Damn it,
yeah,
man. Like I have seen
yeah,
it. Oh my god, it's fucked up.
yeah. It's a lot of mental strength and to that type of training, more than anything. Of course, you still need your physical, but I feel like a lot of it is just pushing through mentally. You can push it through it mentally, you definitely can get more conditioning out of yourself. But I feel like if you're well conditioned and you don't have the mindset, the mind spirit for it, you will break. Once you break, your body breaks with you. So to me, it was mostly mentally. Yes, of course, it was exhausting, but with the mindset, you can get through it. So it's good.
That's totally true. So you decide to move there and just focus 24/7 on your training.
Yeah, so basically, yeah. See, he had told me already, like years ago. I'm talking about like 2015 or 2016. He used to tell me that, yo, you should come here. It's a lot of small people here. Like, this will be good for you. But I had a relationship back then, so everything was based on that relationship. I was like, I have a fiance. Like, I had my life kind of like I said, set up. I had a
Yeah.
job and a car and bills and all these payments, and my whole fear was, like taking time away for so long. And not just that, but for me to be able to travel, I need to travel with her, and then we didn't have the money to be doing that type of um, travel. It was so far. We both have to leave jobs, all of this stuff. And when I wanted to do it by myself, it came down that relationship type of thing, like, oh, you cannot go by yourself because you go to a different continent pretty much. So it was like a lot of fights in between that. So I kind of like let it sink in my head. I'm like, oh, maybe I go later, maybe I go later. And then years passed into like 2018. Um, then yeah, it happened. I separated from her, and during that time, I was actually working a lot. I was training. I got to fight for an amateur belt in 2016, and I had won that belt. And my whole idea after that was to turn professional. It was a turn professional, but unfortunately, I couldn't really train much because I had to work a lot, pay my own bills, all of this stuff. And yeah, it was one day I just took the decision to just work hard for 7 8 months, get as much money I could from my job, leave everything pretty much set up and behind, like my house. Like once my lease was up, it was the last time I was gonna get into a lease and I was gonna move. So I did that, and yeah, that was exactly May 2018. I bought my ticket in April, and I said, that's it. Once I buy it, there's no turning back. And
Um,
yeah, I bought the ticket and I just waited until the last day, the 25th. I remember it was the 25th of May 2018 when I decided to leave, and I had left everything behind with no plan to return, but I did had a ticket back for I was gonna go for 6 weeks and try it out and see what happens. If everything will come out good and I would like, I was gonna come back here and then um, pick up the rest of my clothes and move back. That was the idea. But things turn out different.
they always do. They always do.
Yeah.
You know, I can understand. Like I've been in in Thailand training Muay Thai twice. Uh, every time that I go, I leave everything here and I go there for 3 4 months, and it's hard because you start thinking like, okay, I have bills, I have an apartment, I have like a lease, so many things, right? So I've been trying to like go there on winter time. I rent out my apartment to someone else, like sublet my apartment, and I end up liking it because every time I go there, I spend way less money because just with the money that I get from my apartment, subletting my apartment, I can rent there a little villa and food and training. And the thing that I like the most is that you wake up every day with just one goal on mind, and is go learn some shit and get better. And
Yep.
that feeling of not having nothing else to do besides improve your skills and push yourself is something amazing. Like it's one of the best feelings I have ever had in my life. I gotta say, next day normally it's hard to wake up for me. Like every day that I'm there, like I barely can move in the morning. Like take me like an hour to like warm up and start moving, especially after like clinching. I wake up like, what the fuck with my neck, man? Like it's hard, but it's at the same time is something that I wish everybody could do at least once on their like lifetime. Go and live as an athlete. Like it's it's amazing. You learn so much about yourself, so much about your like discipline, your habits. I just love the whole fighter's life in Phuket, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely different than what I'm obviously used to. I don't have the freedom here. Obviously, it's like anybody else. I feel like Thailand is more like a escape of reality in a way. It makes you go in that cloud where we want to be. Like how we picture ourselves as fighters is train every day, wake up, train, eat, sleep, train. That's pretty much what I was doing there every day. Here you don't have the same luxury of doing that. Here you have to wake up, go to work, make money, pay all these bills you have to pay here,
True.
taxes, all of this stuff, and then you have time to go train if you have time. And your priority is, like I said. I mean, it depends on the person as well. I mean, the person who or somebody who already has a job in the field, I guess it's different if you already. But even though, like when you have to teach, you you're not really like you're growing up in different skills. You're growing as a coach or as a trainer, but for you to dedicate yourself to actually do the things that you want to do to get better as a fighter, you have to be involved and do what you have to do, like your skills of practice and your conditioning practice. So it's different when you're coaching than when you're actually going there to do your thing. So I had a lot of time in my hands to be able to, get my skills on a different level. So it's definitely, like I said, it's something different. That a lot of people will find uh,
Crazy.
paradise.
Some
Yeah.
people find it like paradise. Some people like it, find it like crazy. Like, let's say for me, I love it every time that I go there. Like, honestly, I wait a full year. I work very hard to be able to leave Canada on winter time and be training there. And then my girlfriend and friends are like, "What the fuck?" So you work hard, save money to go there, and don't even rest, and being like training every day and had to wake up so early and like, what kind of vacations is that? But that, I'm exactly like you. Like, that's not vacations. It's just like I'm doing what I love for a short period of time. So I want to do it as much as I can. Like, I just want to enjoy the whole thing. People call it crazy. Some people call it the paradise.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it depends on how you see it. That's perspective. For me, that's perspective. Because, like I said, everybody has a different way of seeing fun. For example, people ask me, like, what do I do for fun? And for me, fun will be like going to the beach or just chilling with my friends, hanging out with my friends. For some people, fun is going out on a boat and partying and drinking and all that stuff. Like I said, it depends on perspective. People traveling, for them is mostly it's gonna be just going to travel and have fun, going to places and I don't know, meet a lot of people, get drunk, get fucked up, and take pictures everywhere. For me, obviously, the most fun I ever had was actually going there and putting myself day and night to train. For me, that was one of the most painful things to do, but it was so enjoyable that for me it was the most fun I ever had. uh, like I said, it's something that you actually like to do. So for me, if somebody tells me they love to go out and drink and party, for me is going to the gym and train. That for me
Rolling.
is, yeah, it's like knowing that I can grow and be as good as everybody else that I've been watching for many years. Uh, and the biggest show that we all we love to be one day. Like I've been watching all these guys. I'm like, damn, I'm doing everything these guys are doing right now. Like, wow, it makes me feel like I can actually get there. If I'm doing the things right. So yeah, to me that's joy.
And I think like being there is also open a huge amount of windows and doors and opportunities. Like use as example, like I know you have like chance to train with the best of the best on the time that you've been spending Tiger Muay Thai. You were also coaching over there, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity. Well, like I said, after I did the tryouts, unfortunately I did not win, but they like me. I was likable. I feel like I've been always likable in a lot of places. My way of being with people. They know that like I'm I'm good as well. Like my art, I think is out there. People can see it. Good jiu-jitsu. For the small guys that were there, I was a good additive to the team. So uh, yeah, they kept me as part of the team, and yeah, I had the opportunity and the pleasure to actually coach there as a BJJ coach. A couple of classes. Once the coaches, silent. Someone they got sick. Someone needed to go travel for visas. Someone needed to go back home. So someone they needed to go coach other fighters. So when there were times where they had no coaches, they would come to me. Which, like I said, for me it's a pleasure. They can actually see me and look at me and be like, "Hey, can you teach class?" I'm like, "Wow, like this is the biggest gym in the world." Like I'm like, am I even capable of teaching? But if they're asking me, obviously they believe and they see it. Like sometimes, like it happens, you get not gonna say discouraged, but you see so many great people walking through the door. For the coaches who've been there for many years, come and tell me, hey, can do you mind coaching? Because I'm not gonna be here tonight. I have to go out of town or whatever. Like, can you coach? The first thing I think of is like, damn, like who the fuck I am? Like damn, like oh, who the fuck I am? Like I just got here, But like I said, it's good. It's a good experience, for be able to coach people from different countries. I had Chinese people who didn't speak, so I have to communicate with them through showing the move, with my body, body language. And then I had obviously people who were above my belt, seeing the things that I was trying to show and apply. So, like I said, there were fewer classes, but that was a great experience. That's as far as like the being up there. Yeah, I had like some classes where I did the wrestling classes as well, and helped out overall. Like I was usually just helping out for the most part. And then what I did got was being assistant coach for the boxing team. That
Johnny, Johnny and
yeah,
Sebastian.
Johnny and Sam Baston. Look, I have the Connie boxing from Sam Baston. So yeah,
Shout out to the coaches. They're awesome. I love those guys.
yeah, man. They are very high level coaches, man. Like everybody there, they're there for a reason. I believe that camp is obviously one of the best. They show it by their work ethic, their knowledge. They carry all of them. Every single person in there is amazing. There's no doubt of the things they do. So
That's one of the things that I love about Tiger Muay Thai, the opportunity that you have to like share gym with like people and like amazing athletes. And like I know like you have the opportunity to like train with big figures right now, like Petr Yan, you UFC champion of the world. That I love that.
oh
When I was there, I saw him every day that I was training. I was taking the 6:30 a.m. yoga class. He was already there
yeah.
training by himself. And I used to take the 7:30 yoga class, and he was there training by himself. He was always training. I saw him with his like little kid and wife. You can see that it was his job to be there training for what he was looking for. It's pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
that is very crazy, man. Because actually, when I met Petr Yan, I didn't know who he was. I actually met him through a sparring session we did, and once again they because I was already, of course, I was already part of the team, and they just asked me to do a training session with them. And I remember the first time I met him, he was training for his first fight in the UFC. He was gonna fight some guy from Team Famel. I remember that. The Chinese looking guy, I forgot his name, but he was gonna fight one of the guys from Team Famel, and he was training for the fight. And I remember like yeah, he beat me up, and I was like, I was like, who the hell is this guy? Like he whooped my ass. I was like, wow, okay, he's really good. And then from there on, we kept training. We had a couple other training classes together. We did pro jiu-jitsu, wrestling, all of this stuff. Definitely, the guy, as everybody can tell, his work ethic is impressive.
Amazing, yeah.
Very, very talented guy. Put the hours. It's not just gifted. He works harder than anybody else. That's one thing that, like you said, you noticed. I noticed he was the first one in, and he was the last one out. Once
Yeah, man.
the training was over, he was jumping rope after 10 rounds of sparring. He would be jumping rope, hitting the bag, doing mids, doing backflips. Like he will be doing like a bunch of shit. And I'm like, where do you have all the energy? Like
Yeah,
I'm like, either I'm too old for this shit, or he just very like I don't know, like hyper. But
yeah.
yeah, he trained his ass off, and like I said, yeah, of course he got all these wins, and all of his weight up there, was well deserved, hard work. So it was good, man. It was good, and like I said, I was able to have other people from One Championship, people from Brave, all of these
Valentina
shows.
Shevchenko.
Yeah, that was she has her own like training partners and stuff like that. I was able to do a seminar that she was doing there, and I was able to share a little bit with her, like
I
as
was
far as
there and
like
I miss it.
yeah.
I miss it. I couldn't wake up that day. I was sore and I was like bad, man, like bad, bad, bad. I regret it until like today. Like, why the fuck I didn't wake up? I just
Yeah.
couldn't.
Yeah, but like I said, the same thing. Like it was good because waking up and and going to train, and then the first thing you see is Valentina Shevchenko, and I'm like, wow, like
Wow.
she's one of the champs, and she's there training with her sister, and she had her own crew where she picked up some people from the team, and she would train with them only uh, in the cage, like away from people. She would train by herself. She has her own routines and her own sparring sessions. So like I said, I was able to stay and look some of the things they were doing. She talked to me and gave me advice, and like told me her training methods and what she thinks about the way she does things. So it was good to experience that as well.
And you have like experience like training with the best of the best, not just athletes, but also coach, right? Like one thing that like I always say, like this world is so small. Like Stuart Cooper is the head coach of a jiu-jitsu program on my team here in Vancouver.
Oh,
So
nice.
they,
Yeah,
yeah,
the Diaz, right?
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? When I saw him in Thailand, I was like, I didn't even know about this, like I didn't follow his
Yeah.
like videos yet, so I didn't know that he was also like doing his program over
A
there.
competitor.
Yeah, and like there is one like all coaches in Tiger Muay Thai, man, is like incredible, incredible. Shout out to all
Yeah, like I
coaches
said,
over
it
there.
does. Yeah, definitely. Shout out to all of them. There's so many. There's so many. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was very lucky to have been able to get coached by pretty much every single coach there. Like I had the Hickman brothers with the wrestling team in the MMA area. I was able to have Rafael and the K1.
Oh, he's a
You got to see
beast.
you got to
He's a
see the last fight.
beast.
The Matrix. Yeah, man. He
Yeah, man.
doesn't. He's a beast, man. He's definitely gonna do a lot of damage in the UFC cage. So gotta
And
keep
he's
an
such
eye
a
on him.
nice guy, like such a nice guy to talk to, like
I
I
know.
got introduced to him by a Thai friend. She's a nurse, and she's basically the one that brings like his kid to the world and help him like with the whole like baby thing. Having a baby in Thailand, that's crazy. So I had the
Yeah.
chance to meet him, and he's such a nice guy. Like for me was a huge experience to meet all these like Emilio Urrutia. Like I was following him on like one championship. So you go to this gym and then you see all these people that you look at on Instagram on the TV. I was like, damn, I'm on the right place. Right place, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. Yeah, man. That's true. That's true. Like I said, it's different. Like I didn't know anything about Tiger Muay Thai or anything about Thailand until he actually moved there, and then he started telling me, and then I started following, and I'm like, wow. And then I'll see all this training. I'm like, wow. I would love to be there one day. And knowing that I said that one day, and then all of a sudden I'm right in front of the gym, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm here. Two different things. And like I said, once you end there and then you're actually end the sauce with everyone, that's a different level. It makes it, like I said, you either grow or you die. You got to
Yeah,
level up there. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Especially like, well, maybe you're kind of used to the weather because where you live is pretty hot and pretty similar weather. But for me, getting there with that much like moisture and hot and like it's like you think I cannot train to go there. I was like running every day, preparing myself to go there. I got there and I was like every day I was like I want to puke. I don't want to puke in front of everybody. Fucked
You
up.
were
Like
melting. I know.
yeah. What would you tell to people that is thinking on training in Thailand? Like advice or what comes to your mind?
Train in Thailand.
Yeah, for people that is
Okay.
thinking on training there, what would you say to them?
I mean, I can. What can I say? Definitely check out Tiger Muay Thai. They have. I think obviously I got to experience a couple of gyms there as well. I always say they should always go where they feel more comfortable. They can um, look around first, right? Like look around first. Not just stay with one gym. Um, they have some other places they say they have better Muay Thai. There are styles, there are different styles. I feel like the style all depends of like, I don't know what your body can do as well. The coaches are different. I got to experience different coaches, and I like some better than others. It's like it's normal. But definitely, like if you're looking for BJJ or you're looking for wrestling, you're not gonna find anything better than Tiger Muay Thai. Strength and conditioning wise, they have a lot of other gyms there too for what's it called, CrossFit and stuff like that. So it depends on what you're gonna do. But training, yeah, of course. I mean, Thailand, I think if you're going there, you're gonna find what we called before, like a paradise. You go train, go to the beach, come back and train. So definitely check the Soy Thai A, which is where Tiger Muay Thai is in Phuket, Shalong.
One of the best places ever, my friend. I love being there. I wish I can go back there soon because
Yeah,
I miss it. I miss it a lot.
I'm definitely going. I definitely want to go back next year, but with this whole COVID right now, as the borders are still closed, it's been really difficult to earn any income since there's a lot of things are still closed. Like we even have the restaurants closed here right now. Um, yeah, getting work right now is very difficult. So it's gonna
Yeah,
take some time until everything goes back to what we call the new normal. And then we'll see like what happens with the whole traveling. But the whole idea is to be able to head back and see what opportunities can we actually create now. The the world is changing. It's a lot of things are changing, and we're never gonna go back to what it was before. It's a shock already. So I personally feel it's gonna have to we're gonna have to adapt to new rules and regulations. But I feel like, yeah, at the end of the day we will be able to travel again. So yeah, we'll see what opportunities can we take from there. So we see how can we live, how can we make it happen to get back there.
are like jiu-jitsu gyms in Florida open? Are you able to train, or is not possible?
Yeah, I mean, I believe it or not, I've been training since I came back. I've been training. I trained at home by myself. I trained with my brother. I was actually in quarantine with my brother, and they had to cancel everything, the shows, everything. But my brother, he was actually waiting for a call for one fight, so he can get into the UFC. Like the whole point is that he has a very good record. He's one of the top fighters here in Florida, and yeah, we were just waiting to see what happened, maybe somewhere else. But obviously, with the whole quarantine thing, we didn't know what was gonna happen. So we stayed just in shape, just training a little bit of strength training, conditioning training at home with what we had. We had like pretty much nothing but body weight. So we did a lot of that stuff. None of that tempo pushing challenge they were doing out there. Now we were like I said, we were keeping ourselves in shape. We had gloves, we had pads, we did pads for each other, kept each other in shape until the opportunity of going back into the gym was available. Then we were already in shape. So
Yeah, trust
yeah.
me, like through the whole quarantine, like sometimes I was like looking at my Instagram here, like all the present shit, and then I see you like training and doing yoga, and I'm like, get off of the fucking couch and go do something. And you really motivate me to like get up my shit and train at home. I even got like this huge and invasive like punching bag that is in the middle of my living room. My girlfriend hated it, but I'm like, there is no other place to go. So I really want to like thank you for all the things that you put on social media, because it's part of those things that motivate me to like wake up and go for
Thank
a
you, man.
run or do something, man. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
thank you. Like I said, I try to share content that is valuable, obviously, for people. Like I said, I'm not no one's head. I don't know. Like you're always gonna have both things. You're gonna have the people who are appreciative of what you put, and you're gonna have people who are gonna be uh, um, talking crap
Haters.
about the things that you put. So, like I said, I don't really care about none of that. I put with the reasons that I want to put my stuff. I want people to, like you said, maybe they get motivated to see the things that I'm doing. For me, it actually works more as well as like a business part, because I get people who wants to be clients. I do personal training here as well. So So I have sometimes people calling me, be like, hey, where do you train? What do you teach? Can you coach me? Can I do a prayer with you? So that helps as well. But for me, like, I share the things that I do every day, like, health, health, and fitness, lifestyle, not just fighting. It's not all of it. Like you see, it's not everything about fighting. It's just staying healthy, staying healthy, being fit, eating right, having a balance in life, have my fun as well. But yeah, just not trying to discourage anyone if they don't want. I don't want to just think that all I do is fight, and all of my posts are about training and fighting. Like, not everybody's a fighter here, so I want people to know that you can actually train as well without having to be a fighter. You can train like one. You can do a lot of things to get yourself, to the point where you want to be. So it's fine.
Yeah. You know what? Like before I start training, like you say, when I was younger, I used to fight like every day at the school and after on college every day. Like I was always on problems. When I start training, I don't even like fighting anymore if it's not like on the gym or like on the ring or like sparring with my friends. I just don't. It's not appealing to me anymore that it was before, and that's great. I always say to people that have problems with like problematic kids, put them in jiu-jitsu. You'll see the change. Like it will be like another kid.
It's a
Like
it's a, it's a discipline. It's a discipline. Like, I have met people who took the art of fighting as a way of knowing that they could defend themselves, but they actually went looking for problems, because they knew how to fight, so they would just don't care, and they would just go out, look for problems, and then, like, they misuse the art. I don't know. Like I said, for me, it has been about discipline. I had the fortune to had a very, very good coach guiding me through my journey. My first uh, 5 years, 4 or 5 years of my martial arts. I feel like I lead by example. He was a very calm guy. Mostly jujitsu, and like I said, when it's time to go to war, we go to war with the mentality of just doing what we do at that particular time. And once it's over, like I say, like, once it's over, I don't hate my opponent no more. Like, I wish him the best. Hugs and pictures. For everyone. And when I'm out there, the same thing. Like, not just because I know how to fight doesn't mean I'm gonna just go and and try to be upon people. The opposite. Like, I avoid things. I'm like, I see a fight coming, and I'm like, just relax, just calm down. Like, there is no point. Like, you never know who you're. Some people, they say, like, if it's not another fighter out there, then it's gonna be someone who doesn't know how to fight. So he might have a gun.
yeah,
And
that's
that's how
totally
people.
true. That's
I
totally true.
I had a couple of people here that used to fight in the amateurs with me, and yeah, they passed away due to things like that. Getting into a fight in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they got shot. And it just happens. Like, it happens because they. Not gonna say they allowed it to happen, but like I said, it's one of those things. Like, if you can avoid it, avoid it. Like, for me, like I said, I do the art because I want to show the world what I'm capable of doing in the big stage. Like, whatever stage I go to, either it's the mats to BJJ or going to the cage, I know I'm in a safe place to say it like that. I know I'm allowed to do and present what I have there. But in the streets, it's not my place to do it. Like, for me, like I said, unless it's nothing I can do, and I tried every single method and I couldn't avoid it. In that case, it comes down to it. But if I feel like I don't have to, I don't got to prove nothing to anyone out there. Like, I don't.
Yeah, that's
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 the way it
totally
is.
true. Respect, brother. Totally true.
Yeah.
So before our time run out, I have few questions that I want to ask you. Number one, what will you recommend? Which martial art will you recommend to someone that is overweight and want to change their lifestyle for a more active and healthy uh, way of life? Which martial art would you recommend to like lose weight and start the journey?
Wow. Um, it's very difficult, man, to say. I guess it all depends on what the person is really into as well. Because for me, it will be a little biased if I say jujitsu, because jujitsu, I mean, jiu-jitsu, you sweat a lot. You're moving your whole entire body. You seen. I mean, you know, you lived it. You got to be standing up. You got to be on the ground. You got to crunch your body. You got to move it. You got to push people. You got to pull people. Like, it's so much movement. I remember when I first started doing BJJ, I used to weigh 150 pounds. That's what I used to weigh. And after the second month, I was at 125 pounds. I actually lost 25 pounds of, I don't know if it was water or whatever the case might be, but I lost a lot of weight because, like you said, it's Miami, it's hot. I was training 2 times a day, every day, and yeah, slowly you start losing weight, and then yeah, you do shrink, but obviously, you know, I gained a lot of cardio and I gained a lot of strength, and my body developed in a different form. So, like I said, if it would be for the, I'm not gonna say for the bias, but like for my experience, that's how I gained my experience. But I seen a lot of people who love to do, like, for example, like cardio boxing. They help them a lot. You know, like they want to do more like boxing style of training, and they find very good results when it comes down to martial arts. Like I said. But once again, it all depends on the abilities. You know, if I tell you to do kickboxing and you're not really a kicker or something, it might frustrate you to try to do that. You know, but like I said, it's a lot of different methods. You know, you can use. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it all depends. You know, you can give everything a try. You know, you can try BJJ. You know, you can do the gi. If you don't feel like obviously touching people and stuff like that is for you, especially for women, because some women don't like to be touched, which obviously is understandable, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, and the gi allows you to just grab the lapel, the kimono. So, um, like I said, you're inside of a sauna suit, and there's a
That's true.
um, it's a very good way to lose weight as well. You know, like you're constantly sweating. It's non-stop sweating. You start sweating once you put that pajama on. So like I said, and you do learn a martial arts. Like you learn how to defend yourself as a self-defense. It's very useful. But like I said, once again, boxing is another way, a big way of lose weight, gain. You know, self-defense experience. Of course, you know every fight starts standing, so you never know when you have to punch someone in the face. So
Yeah, that's
at least, like
totally
I said,
true.
yeah, you will get both. But like aside from that, like I said, of course, you know, you have you seen it. Some people don't know anything about Muay Thai, and they go to Thailand with no experience, and they start doing Muay Thai, and then they end up fighting in the stadiums over there. So that's something, like I said, you start developing a love for things once you start going into something. So it depends on what you put yourself in mind, like where your mindset is at. You know, if you're trying to just lose weight but don't really want to learn how to defend yourself, then it doesn't really matter what you do if it's the point is just to do that. But if you really want to learn the art, the, losing the weight is a given. It will happen, you know.
Yeah,
But of course, you know, you do have to obviously change a lot of things in life. You know, your lifestyle have to change, your way of eating have to change. So many things have to change
yeah, I
to
mean,
be able to do that.
that's
But yeah.
totally true. That brings me to the next question. I have a group in Facebook and also on Instagram just dedicated to like my journey on martial arts, and I have received questions from parents. What is the best recommended martial art to put my kids on if they are like suffering of bullying at school?
Well, for martial art for kids,
Yes.
I definitely say BJJ is the best for kids. Why? I particularly feel that obviously standing up in school. The only reason why it could be bad is because we're talking about punching people in the face. Like if you go, you're not gonna ever encourage your kid to go and like snuff someone in the face in school, get in trouble. Yes, of course, but what I mean is like, if you're getting bullied by another kid, and if you're able to manipulate his own abilities to fight and hold him down, yeah, I mean your kid don't really have to do anything um, to the kid to
Please say.
like, you don't have to hurt him. You don't have to really hurt him to let him know the point, you know, that he's superior. And I feel like that's something that in BJJ you can fake, you know, like when you have something, you put somebody in a submission or you have somebody in a hold, you know, you have them. If a person cannot move, they cannot move, you know.
Yeah.
A punch, I feel like a puncher can be lucky. You know, you can know how to punch somebody else who has, I don't know, just throw like a wild punch and can catch you and knock you out. It doesn't matter who you are. You know, it could happen. That's just the way it is. But like I said, for kids, I do definitely recommend wrestling and BJJ. So like a mix of grappling, I will say.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
The next question: what is a quote that you follow on your life? A quote that is always there with you.
Well, I'm sorry. What was the question again?
Like, do you have any quote that you live your life through, or you have always on your mind?
Oof, I mean, yeah. I mean, I have a couple of things that I live by. I will say I had this quote poem of a good philosopher. He said, "Go all the way." So pretty much, yeah. I mean, anything you want to do in life, just go all the way. Just give it your all. You know, don't do things halfway. I can tell you for experience, I've been chasing this dream for already almost about to be 10 years, and yeah, it's a lot of setbacks. You know, it's a lot of things that don't go your way. As you can tell, you know, I went to Thailand. I was there for 2 years. My plan was to stay there, live there, and be like a Thai. You know, and this whole thing happened, and then boom, I ended up back here where I started with nothing. One with nothing as far as like materialistic stuff, which like I said, for me, uh, those are things you can regain. But the experience that I brought from there, something nobody can take away from me. So um, one thing, like I said, I tried giving it my all while I was there. I trained and I did everything I wanted to do. When it came down to my art, you know, like whatever I could, I tried. Like I said, the fights that I tried to gain there, everything. So yeah, I feel like it's just don't live life with regrets. That's another thing, you know. Don't one thing that I don't wanna look at myself back when I'm older is look back and say, damn, I could have had done this and I never did. So I don't wanna let fears take away from living my my life, you know, the way I see things. Um, so like I said, sometimes the opportunity might not be there at the moment. It doesn't mean you have to give it out, you know. You got to fight for it. So uh, that's pretty much my thing. Like I said, even right now, I heard of so many people who went through this situation of the virus, and some people they literally stopped training. Some people, you know, they just kind of like gave out in a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true.
And and like I said, everybody takes it different. You know, some people they are not as stable as others, and I respect all of it. But like I said, you know, you gotta have a strong mindset, and yeah, you really have to stick to the things that you want. You know, like for me, once this happened, and I knew that I was not gonna be any fights at the moment. It didn't mean for me to just stop training. I'm like, nah, like right now I'm gonna focus on obviously be able to train however I can. If I don't have weights, oh well, I do body weights. I know how to do calisthenics. um, I'll go out there, I do shadow boxing, I do whatever I can. If I have to do it by myself, I shadow box. You know, that's the reason why we have all of these tools, implements that we can do with our own body, you know, to keep myself in. Like I said, you're never gonna have motivation is just a thing that is it's permanently there, you know, but you're not always gonna have it. You know, you have to have discipline, you know, you have to be very disciplined. And man, I feel like that's one of the things, like I think I have that. And one of the reasons why I'm still around is because, you know, I I'm stubborn like that, you know. I don't wanna be done until I know I did what I put myself, what my mindset is at. You know, once I know I reach that level, then I'll be like, all right, you know, I move to the next level of life, you know. So yeah.
That's awesome, brother. Like, very proud of you, to be honest. So, last one. What's the most recommended book and podcast for the people that is listening?
Oof, I mean,
Audiobook, it
damn.
could be audiobook and podcast.
Audiobook. I actually had "Don't Hurt Me" by David Goggins. Um, that book got me crazy. That book got me
Yeah, man.
running. That book got me running at 4 o'clock in the morning in Thailand. I was running the quarry, the big circle that we all run after, like when you're doing the Muay Thai and stuff like that. I was running at 4 in the morning to like almost 7, like 3 hours of just running, listening to the episodes of this guy. Um, yeah, man, I don't know what to tell you. To me, like I haven't had the pleasure of having many of them. It depends on, like I said, once again, it depends on what you do and what your perspective is. For me, that was something that got my head into being motivated at the moment, moments that I was kind of like down, and got me focused to like listen to the story that he had. I felt like it reminded me of the stories that I have for myself. We all have a story to tell, his story. Yes, it is crazy, and the way that he got to see his life, he could have been the opposite. He could have been just a victim and just like let himself be, fat and whatever. But he had a different mindset, and that's something that like I I can see myself. I can see myself in his shoes because I lived a life. Like I said, I lived my own journey, but I had a pretty rough life as well when it comes down to that. I tried to join the army 4 times, 3 times actually.
Oh
Sorry.
shit.
The first time I tried joining the army, I didn't know any English, but I wanted to do something with my life, and that's when I was 18 years old. I was only a year into being in America, so I couldn't understand some words, but I didn't know much, and I went to an army facility, and I'm like, oh, I want to be a soldier, and I'm like, all right, you got to sit down and take a test, and I'm like, oh shit, I thought you were supposed to present yourself at 18 years old, and I'm like, all right, I did the test, I failed, I couldn't understand anything, so I waited another like 6 or 8 months. I forgot how long, and then I took it again, and then once again I didn't pass. I failed in time. My timing wasn't good enough, so I couldn't get the points they needed or whatever. And then the third time I tried Marines, and for that one I did study and I passed the test. The only thing that it saved me from going there was my my GED, because I had a transfer from Colombia.
Mhm.
It didn't have all the credits that I needed for me to be able to join, and they needed me to go to a school that was gonna take me like 6 months, and I was gonna be like it was like what's it called, like a marine school type of thing. So you're supposed to be there for 6 months, and you have to stay locked in there until you get until I get 16 credits pretty much. So I think it was 8 credits in the first semester and then 7 credits for the second semester, something like that. And my sister found out that I was gonna do that, and then she got super upset. She got super mad, and she told me that I was stupid, that I was gonna get myself killed out there, that I didn't have no business doing that. And once again, I was only 18. I was turning 19, so I kind of like, yeah, I didn't show up for to go and go into the school. Like I never filled out the papers or anything. So once again, just because the fact that I didn't have the right amount, so they didn't tell me anything like for not showing up. It was not like I was already ready to go. So
Yeah.
after that, that's when I put myself to paramedics. After that, so that's when I was like, all right, I'm gonna do paramedics. And paramedics didn't work, and I'm like, school is not for me. I want to go fight.
Go to fighting.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe I'm too stupid for this, but yeah, that's something that actually I was able to get in my head quick, was understanding the body, like understanding movement. I'm pretty good with that. So yeah, so audiobook, I had that. I was a little bit into business, so I was like reading Rich Dad Poor Dad as well. That's more for like business. Like I said, it depends on what you're into. Um, for books itself, books, I wasn't that much of a big reader, be honest. Especially because once again, coming as an older person, already 17 years old, I have to learn how to read, write, everything by myself. I didn't have the chance to go to school because I was already older, so I needed to do night school, and I was working at night, so I never got to do that. I literally learned how to speak, I learned how to write and read, and just not gonna say in the streets, but at home, like
Yeah.
listening to my brothers, my sisters, listening to music. Yeah,
Same
just
thing. That's how
working,
I
reading a
learn.
lot, and yeah. And then eventually the writing came after, and then obviously the reading, it was the slowest thing I learned. But once I got it down and I started reading books, I read a book actually in Thailand. They got me through a very hard time I had there. It was um, what's it called? Sorry, it's called the sort of not giving a fuck.
Oh, the
Um,
subtle art of not giving a fuck. I love that
yeah,
book. It's so good.
yeah. That book, I actually, one of my friends let me borrow it during a time that he was actually there to visit me. Well, he was there just to visit um, Asia, but he came to see me, and he let me borrow the book. I pretty much read the whole entire book in 4 or 5 days. I got hooked in it, and I think it allowed me to see a lot of different things. And obviously, like I said, it was rough times during that time for me. So um, yeah, I was able to take some fucks I was giving too much during time that I didn't need them because it was kind of like heavy on my shoulders.
Yeah.
So it kind of like allowed me to be clear with some stuff. So that book is amazing. And then the second book that I got to read was The Power of Now. That
Oh,
was
very good book
more,
too.
yeah, that one to me, like I said, once again, I was into that type of books because, like I said, it was a moment that I hit that it was that it got me a little lost. So like people we always gonna hit those times. I'm already in my 30s, so like I said, there's a lot of experience you go through life, and sometimes you don't feel you feel strong. Like I always feel very very strong in character. I'm always being. I grew up with mostly men in the family, and my brothers are military guys. Well, two of my older brothers went to the military. My older brother's a fighter. I'm a fighter myself. So I grew up, with my grandparents being tough on me. Everything was just bare knuckle to the face when I get when I yeah, no, believe it or not, I didn't got like everybody else does. They go get the chancleta and they hit you
Uh,
with it, or
time
they
out and
get,
that's it.
yeah, or they'll give you the palm now. Like my grandfather used to like hit me, with a fist straight in the face. Like he kicked me, punched me. Like that's how I grew up being like that. Like a man, how you say it. So for me, it was um that type of toughness. The tough love, kind of how we say it. Like even with my brothers, like we've always, between brothers you always fight, and I was always the smallest one. So they just beat me up, and stuff like that. So I grew up with that tough love. So for me to actually get uh sensitive or being out of that side of me, it was very hard to face, and then like I said, when it came down to that, reading was the only thing that actually got my head straight. So that's when I started reading books. I asked what was books that were good to read. uh, I was like kind of having a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of depression. So once I read those two books, the first one was the subtitle Not Giving a Fuck, and the second one was The Power of Now. The Power of Now allowed me to see those things as well, like focus on. I used to stress so much about focusing on the future. Once again, I grew up with my grandparents, so for me, everything was about growing older, have a wife, kids, stuff like that. So kind of like everybody has the same structure of like being 30, having a home. And of course, I'm hitting my 30s. I'm seeing myself like in a different country. Like my family, I don't even know where they, like, I know where they are, but like we all kind of like growing older, and everybody's splitting, everybody having kids. It gets a little stressful, like I said myself, having had a girlfriend and then breaking up and then being alone in a country that like so different, and not knowing like what the hell I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stay here, I'm gonna leave, like what's next. So I was always on top of like the future. Like, oh, I gotta get this, I gotta get this, I got this, and I'm like, damn, like I gotta focus a little bit more on what's going on right now.
Yeah.
I was too focused on what things that had happened in the past, what things had people had done to me, um, the things I haven't done because I'm going older. That I'm like, I wasn't here what I needed to be,
Not enjoying the
and
present.
yeah, just obviously, like I said, at the end of the day, it's something that it really, the book says it, and it's very true. That's the only truth you'll ever have is right now, because you don't know. You can you can have plans for tomorrow, but you never know. Like things can happen. You might not wake up tomorrow. You
Yeah,
might not hit it for the next day, and focusing too much on the past is the same thing. Like the past has already happened. It's not gonna change. So knowing kind of like reflecting on those things, the things that but you have to reflect on them. um Same thing when people tell you, don't do something, and you're like, oh, okay, but then you still go and do it. um yeah, to me it was more like be able to read it, kind of like, it's weird. It's like you kind of see a book and you're like, okay, he's professional, he know what he's talking about. So it's like, okay, I'll listen now, I'll listen to this person now. But a lot of friends have told me that before. Just focus on what you're doing right now. Like focus on your present moment, not so much in the future. Don't stress so much the future. Don't stress the past too much. It already happened. But until I read that book, I was able to actually comprehend a lot of things that were going in my life. So yeah, like I said, once again, it all depends on what you like to read. For me, that's more like life and mental awareness, like mental health awareness. For me, those books are more mental health awareness. I feel like we lived a lot in this media world nowadays, and we tend to lose sight of our identity and who we want to be. And sometimes we want to be like older people. We want to have older people's life because we're watching them so much in media. Like, oh my God, I want to be like this fighter. Like, oh my God, this person is not even that good, and I'm not there. And then you start stressing that so much. And
yeah.
like I said, you got to be yourself, and you got to be. I'm not say to be conform yourself with what you have right now, but be content with what you have. You know, like it might not be the greatest, but it could be worse. I always think about it. Like right now, the COVID is bad, but guess what? It could be worse. I could have had the COVID.
Yeah,
So even then, I said even the people, when I'm like people, they're like, oh, I have the virus, but they don't have any symptoms. And I'm like, well, it could be worse. You could have the symptoms. You could be dying. So
yeah.
like I said, you gotta always think positive and the negative. It's kind of like when you say feel comfortable and the uncomfortable. That to me is what is that.
That's totally true, brother. Totally true. So before we go, any shout out that you want to give to any trainers or friends? Um, you have a few sponsors as well, right?
Oh, I do actually. I do. I didn't know I was supposed to do that, but yeah. I mean, shout outs to my team here in Miami, who allow me to do what I do. MMA Masters. It's actually one of the best gyms. To not say the best gym actually in Miami right now. We have a couple of great fighters going into UFC. The Contender Series. My brother right now, he just finished winning first round knockout. Um, and like I said, a prospect UFC contender there. So that's good. But yeah, the team itself, my sponsors, Dynamic Wellness, where I keep my body uh, on check. Getting my V's, my fluids, my everything. Like when my body hurts, that's what I go. So they sponsor me to be able to do what I do once again. Uh, what else? Yeah, I mean every gym that I've been to, shout out to them, Tiger Muay Thai, for having me there for almost 2 years. All the coaches, like I said, once again, there are so many coaches. So all the coaches from the MMA area, um, all the coaches from the conditioning team, and yeah, everybody at Tiger. Uh, Australia as well, Team Absolute, who opens the door for me when I went to Australia. Also, I was able to train with the team in Phuket and Hawaii, so shout outs to them as well. MA1 wear gear, they sponsored me. They gave me a lot of equipment as well from Australia. So Shout outs to them as well, and shout outs to you, bro, for allowing me to do this podcast with you. It was amazing. It was fun. It's
No,
awesome.
thank you very much to you, brother. Really, really appreciate it. And I hope this is one of many episodes. And I have no words to say thanks to you for this, man. Thank you very much for supporting me on this
Nah, man.
early stage of this project. Actually, this was like a quarantine project. I've been thinking on having a YouTube channel for years, but never had the time. And,
You know,
and I have a
it's
bunch of
funny
time.
because it's funny because I actually I thought about doing the same thing when I was in Thailand. I actually wanted to do a blog, like um, kind of like a documentary style YouTube channel for traveling. Like just so I was traveling a lot, and I was going to places, a new place that I never been to. So I was like, wow, like I could do this. And I like once again, like I said, obviously I had other things that I wanted to do, which was my training. So I never really got to make many videos and stuff like that. But um, yeah, like I had the idea, and then I felt a little bit discouraged because there was so many people doing it, and I'm like, oh, like who's gonna want to watch my stuff? And honestly, that was the stupidest thing I could ever done because
I
I
will.
didn't follow that.
I will for sure. And you know
Yeah,
that's
I
the
waited
thing.
for so
That's the
many
thing. Like
years.
maybe it's a lot of people doing the same. That's one of the thoughts that I had also about this project. There is so many people doing the same, but no one doing it like me. That's for sure. Number one,
Exactly.
and, and number two, like one of the things that you say about you growing up with your grandparents. My grandparents was like my grandpa was like my dad, and now that he's not with us, sometimes I wish I could have a video of my grandfather like boxing when he was a young guy, or like
Yeah.
see how he met my grandma, like anything that I could see of my grandpa when he was a youngster, it would be amazing. So if I can leave something to transcend for my kids or my future like grandsons when I have them, if two people watch this, I'm we're still happy to share it.
Yeah, exactly. Like we didn't like I'm from the 90s to say like that. Like I'm from 1988, but yeah, like I grew up the same way. Like I didn't I only had pictures of my grandparents. I grew up with them as well. So the only thing after my grandfather passed away, which was basically like my dad, all I had was a picture. And that was a picture that my obviously my grandma had, and it's like you don't really had what we had now. We have
Yeah,
media and we have social media. Like yeah, like I grew up when there was no cell phones, like that
totally
didn't
true.
exist, so yeah, like right now we have an advantage of doing that. Like I didn't even have internet, so
Yeah,
I actually went through that, and I'm going and then look, I now we're going through this stuff, to this new era and this new way of life. And yeah, like of course, like if you once again, if you already had all that done, and that's awesome, man. That's awesome, because I actually do have a friend who started with the whole YouTube channel. He's actually from Thailand as well, but he's a Polish guy, and he started doing traveling videos, just Tiger Muay Thai, like the Tiger training and stuff, and then he started traveling other places. And then now he literally got an award from YouTube for getting like 100,000 K or something like that followers. So subscribers. So that's good, man. He started the same thing with 15 followers, nothing, and yeah, he grows. So he made it. So it's good, man.
use
It's good.
discipline
Like
again. You use the discipline to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, and
exactly,
someday
man.
you're gonna
If
succeed.
you look,
So you
if you
open
if,
your YouTube channel, I subscribe. That's for sure.
for sure, man. That's awesome. Thank you, man. We'll see what we hear. Like I said, right now, I'm really focused on other things. So like I said, once again, like I don't want to focus on so many things at a time, because and then it takes away, because I do things halfway. So I do, like I said, right now I'm focusing a lot on training. I'm focusing right now on a different period of my life, which I'm doing like nutrition and stuff like that. That's something that I've been trying to do for a long time. So I can be able to add it to my personal training career in the future. And once again, being involved with this whole health lifestyle that I'm trying to share with the world. So yeah, right now I want to stay stuck in like into this, and then eventually, like I said, maybe I'll do a health life channel or something down the line. But right now, I'm still trying to gain a lot of experience for myself. So yeah, and then I'll share it with
Awesome,
everybody
man.
else.
That's awesome, bro. Man, thank you very much again. Really appreciate, and we are in contact. And as soon as this is on, I send you a link so you can watch it as well, man.
Sounds good, my man. Definitely. Thank you for having me. And yeah, man, I hope everything goes well with the channel. You know, grow and be like Joe Rogan one day. You know, hey, he started this.
The
Remember, he
Mexican Joe
said it.
Rogan.
The, the Mexican Joe Rogan. Hey, like I said, he said the same thing. He like when he first started his podcast, he said, "What the fuck is this?" He like he didn't think he was gonna, you know, he like he was doing it for fun, you know, and never
Yeah.
didn't thought about anything. And look at him now, you know. So hey, life is what's it called? Life is. I said that one time. I actually posted in one of my things not long ago. I said, life is long, but it goes on a blink of an eye. So
Así es. Así que mejor
always think of
soñar en
that, man.
grande.
Hey, man, yeah, you know, fuck it. All the
Indeed.
way, man, all the way. Don't stop it. Keep it going.
Man, thank you very much. Lots of love and blessings, man. And we are in
Definitely, man. It was
contact.
a very pleasure, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon, brother.
Definitely,
Stay
man.
safe,
We'll be seeing each other. No worries. I'll be out there.
bro. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Dale, man. Take care. Bye.
Gracias, Chino. Nos estamos viendo, carnal. Cuídate mucho.
Dale, papá. Listo. Todo bien. Se cuida. Ahora vamos a ver
Igualmente.
a que me voy de aquí.